Our guest today, she's not just delivering a better experience, she's redefining what great listing agents do. So, Knelly Dettinger personally sold 75 homes last year, led her team to 150 total closings, and brought in $1.6 million in commission. And get this, she did 95% of her listing appointments virtually from another state. So, what sets her apart is how she treats every seller like they're the only one. In this episode, you'll learn how to deliver a white glove experience without burning out, how she built a powerful agent referral relationship across markets, and how to position yourself as the listing expert so clients trust you before you even show up. So let's dive into the systems that makes it happen on the Listing Beast podcast. All right, welcome everyone. So we are here with Knelly Dettinger, and I'm so excited to have her on this show. We're going to be diving deep into the exceptional real estate experience that she provides for sellers. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. So first of all, Knelly, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on. And again, tell us where you're located, because you have kind of 3 different locations, right? So tell us a little bit about the team and where you're located.
Well, thanks, Brandon. So I am today coming to you from North San Diego County, where we moved our family in 2021. So it was a post-COVID decision to run after living our best life and great opportunities for our kids. And we've taken advantage of that at the highest level. And I have been running my organization in Western Wisconsin and Eastern Minnesota. So our hub is in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. If anyone is familiar with that. Hey, we have some big names. We have some big names coming out of Eau Claire. Justin Vernon, Bon Iver, if anyone follows music.
There you go.
Menards, if anyone is interested in saving big money, billionaire John Menard and his home improvement empire. That's Eau Claire. So we are 90 minutes east of the Twin Cities, and we also cover the Twin Cities market, the Eastern Twin Cities market, all the way down to southeastern Minnesota, the Rochester market. And we also cover Lake Country throughout Minnesota and Wisconsin. So we work several different niches. We cover a wide geographic area, and we are willing to do what most people are not.
I love it. And obviously, I've provided them a great intro on you with your stats, your numbers, all of that fun stuff. So Knelly, we're going to dive right into it because we want to provide as much value as we possibly can. And thank you for providing that value. So in our Listing Beast format, what we focus on is 3 key pillars. Number 1, providing an exceptional seller experience so that we as listing agents can earn the money that we deserve for the value that we provide, right? We talk about working less and making more. And I'm sure from as many units as you're selling, you know that a lot of that happens on the list side. The second piece of our framework is we talk about database, and we talk about how do you stay in front of your database, make your database feel special, and continue to get that conversion from your database. And then the third is listing leads, right? Everybody wants to know, how do I get them? What's the secret sauce? What is the lead sources that you've had the most success with? And so we'll maybe touch on all 3, but what I'm really excited about having you on the show is you put so much time and effort into providing that exceptional seller experience. And so I want to break down and kind of put that into some context as we break it down. So when I ask a simple question to a lot of the guests, and I say, so Knelly, why should I list with you or anyone in your organization? So take me through that in kind of an overview, and then we'll dive down into the steps. So why list with you instead of Susie Smith from XYZ Real Estate?
A client would list with True Living Real Estate because they are looking at easing the process and working with a true professional that's totally willing to come alongside them as their, fiduciary, protector, negotiator, and confidant, and also as a roll your sleeves up, let's partner with you. We understand how hard it is to achieve that result, and we're going to provide you great resources and direction and help to get you the best result. And what I tell our clients is, you do this a couple of times in your lifetime. We do this 2 or 3 times a week, and it shows. So taking a client that comes, there are very few clients that come to us that are not overwhelmed or are not having clear direction on what they should do, or are misguided on what they should be spending time and money on. And that pre-work and that partnership that they feel from the first meeting with us continues until we are doing our super 7th level open houses and we're negotiating the multiple offers. And at the end of it, they're saying, they're not saying what just happened. They're like, wow, everything that you said was going to happen did.
I love that.
And
I love that.
it's a great.
That's excellent. So in talking through that, so let's break that into a couple of categories. So Knelly, I set a listing appointment with you for next Wednesday. What's the pre-listing process? Is there? Talk me through. You go, great. You hang up the phone. We're going to talk about how to get listings later in the listing appointment, but I really want to, because your process is really fantastic. So you hang up the phone. What happens next? Or is there any magic that happens on the phone to make sure that you're absolutely ready for that appointment?
So the biggest thing that needs to happen on the phone is you need to get the client excited and eliminate any anxiety about your meeting, what the expectation of it is, and what they need to do to prepare. So we work with a lot of families. We work with a lot of downsizers. We work with regular people, and we all know that people live in their homes. They don't live in model homes. So we make sure that we tell our clients that, hey, I don't want you super deep cleaning your house before we come over. We're going to guide you and give you the best advice on what you should be focusing your energy on so you don't waste your time doing things that aren't going to matter. I'm a mom of 9 kids. That's a very disarming comment, and it makes me immediately relatable. People understand, or they may not understand, what a house of a mom of 9 kids looks like.
Completely.
So
I couldn't
really
imagine.
disarm them from feeling nervous about the way their home is presenting. And I absolutely tell them the way your home presents at our listing appointment is absolutely not going to be how it presents the first day of showings. And we're going to help you through that. So immediately they're relieved. They don't have an expectation that they have to impress us. And we don't set the expectation that we're going to try to impress them. We're going to meet them where they're at and focus on building the relationship. So that is the relational vibe that I put out there prior to our meeting. We also pull preliminary title work. We do, I'm sure, a lot of the same things process-wise that a lot of people do on this call, and provide a net sheet range and provide a pricing range so that when we get to the property and condition might be different or expectations might be different, we can pivot and give them a strategy in that meeting that is going to give them the best result for them.
Because you provide such an exceptional experience, I want to break this down into kind of some buckets of talking about, what you do before the listing appointment, kind of at the appointment, and then we'll talk about the close and all of that fun stuff. So, Knelly, when we talk about kind of pre-appointment, so you hang up the phone with the client, and the next steps are what? Like what happens from putting the phone down till actually showing up in the driveway? What does your process look like?
So this isn't groundbreaking, but our preferred title company is pulling a preliminary title report. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. And we are gathering background data. We're focusing on comparables and having a range of valuations to present. I don't come in to that listing appointment with a phone book size stack of Remind reports and comparables from all over the place. I keep it really simple, and I focus on, this is our active competition. And because we're in the market and we're doing so many transactions, we have a really good idea, or have been in the homes that we're actively competing against. This is our pending data, which is everyone on this call knows that's your greatest indicator of value. And here are our close comparables, and this is how your home is going to do on an appraisal with this data. So we come in there with very simplistic talking points from a number standpoint that are not going to confuse, but are going to confidently inform.
I love that.
And
And you said something there, and you were saying that you when you're looking at this, that you're providing the seller with a range of trying to understand that pricing. Prior to that, Knelly, does the seller get a pre-listing package? Do they get a text or an email saying, "Hey, here's some things you should prepare for," or is it just, I set the appointment, next Wednesday I show up and I'm ready to rock and roll?
so they receive a condition report. They receive a blank staging profile worksheet that we then fill out when they're at the home. And we're setting the expectation that there's going to be some work involved at the appointment that is going to be productive in moving them through the process. So we have a presumptive process that lets them know that we're ready to perform and this is how we're going to do it. And many times we'll show up and the first thing out of their mouth is, "I already filled out the condition report."
I love that.
Great. Then they need to hear less from me. And I train my agents to ask more questions than have answers, or
Yes.
canned presentation. And it really is about focusing on the relationship. The other thing that we do and brainstorm around is, who is the ideal buyer avatar for that property? So then we can very succinctly describe who that buyer is. Sometimes it's more than one buyer profile. And then we have a one-page marketing plan on how we're going to reach them. So our presentations are very simple. We focus on the work, the actions that are going to need to be taken to get the result, and then we focus on getting that result.
I love that. So when you say buyer avatar, that's meaning that if the property is on a lot of land, and maybe this is going to be different than if it's a townhome, and so who are we actually marketing it towards for that? Gotcha. Okay, excellent. That's very cool. So then, and this is sent by regular mail. Is this sent by email? How does that process? How do I start filling out my worksheet?
Email.
Okay.
Let me know how you create a pipeline of appointments that are 2 weeks out, where you could get mail to be effective there. Usually our time from appointment set to when we're in the home is 2 or 3 days max.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent. So now we've got all that prepared, and if I were to see your team's listing package, in that, talk me through the components of that listing package. There's a market analysis? What does that look like? What am I walking into that appointment with?
It's very simple. It's who we are. We talk about our stats and positioning in the marketplace, and really hone in on the fact that you do this 1 or 2 times in your lifetime, a few times in your lifetime. And this is something that we do a few times a week. And our experience level is very well communicated. We also qualify for our company's earned in, luxury division. And we talk about providing luxury service at all price points, which people appreciate. And our goal is to have all of our clients feel that. And we have the staging worksheet that is essentially a room by room worksheet that we go through with our listing manager and the lead agent, and we give them suggestions. And we have 2 sides of that sheet. This is what True Living Real Estate is going to do and bring to the table, and this is what you're going to do and bring to the table. So everyone walks away from that meeting with clear direction and homework and clear expectations. We have
do those people, sorry, Knelly, do those people come on the appointment with you, or they come after?
Yes, they come on the appointment with us. So
So
I have a listing. The way we currently are structuring our listing business is I have a listing manager who's been with me in our operations department since 2019. And I do the majority of our listing appointments on Zoom from San Diego. And she is there walking the house, building rapport with me on Zoom. And that expectation is set with the seller. So they're not surprised by that. And
So
that
let's hold
actually,
on, hold on. I hate to quit it. Even let's stop right there because so you just said some key things. I'm doing the majority of my listing appointments in Wisconsin and Minnesota
yes,
from Zoom with an assistant there at the property.
yes.
So client there is going, I want to list with Knelly. You set the appointment. The break it down as if I'm a 5-year-old and I don't understand it. How does that work?
Absolutely. Great. I'd love to meet with you on Tuesday, Brandon. Just so you know, I run my business in multiple locations, and this week I'm in San Diego. My partner, Lisa, who's been with me since 2019, is going to meet you, and I'm going to be there on Zoom or FaceTime. We'll see you at 3 o'clock. And usually, what we're going after is we're going after big thinkers. We're going after high net worth individuals in our market, and we're going after business people. And they really respect how I've built my business and how I'm allowed to do what I do. And they're actually excited about working with us and meeting with me in that capacity.
Wow. So you meet with them on Zoom. The director of ops or the admin person is there. And are they FaceTiming or they just handle that part and you handle the Zoom part?
Nope, it's FaceTime and or Zoom. So typically what we do is we're on a Zoom call and we start at the front door. Everyone's greeting each other and exchanging pleasantries. We're so excited to see your house today. Let's just take me through. So Lisa turns the camera around and I get the full house tour. The sellers come along and I say, well, as we're walking through your home, I want to hear from you on what your ideas are that you want to do or spend time on or renovate. And I'm going to tell you at the end of the call if it's worth it or not. So I get their perspective right away on, oh, I absolutely want to rip up this flooring. I want to put all new kitchen appliances in there. Is it worth it? They know, and they're cataloging it in their mind as we're walking through the tour, that we're going to have a lot to talk about at that kitchen table. So it's much easier to sit down at the kitchen table for the close when they're expecting high level analysis on all of these improvements or what they should be focusing on for decluttering. Meanwhile, as we're going through the house, Lisa and I are taking that opportunity to take notes on a pre-staging homework plan for them and for us. So we can also present that value when we sit down at that kitchen table at the end of the meeting.
Wow.
Most of the time, our listing appointments are one steppers. Sometimes they're two, depending on their timeline and who is able to be present that day.
This is fascinating, Nelly. So yeah, I'm glad we went here because this comes back to, as you said at the beginning of this, of quality of life and where you want to be and what you want your family to do. And most agents would go, well, I can never leave my town because it's where my business is. And you've now clearly proven that that is a complete falsity, right? You're going, you can still manage a business. It's all just, so the first time you did this, were you like, is this going to actually work? Or did you model this off of someone? Because if I'm trying to visualize this, and again, I've been on thousands of listing appointments. I'm just trying to imagine the seller opens the door and it's Lisa, and she's like, "Hi, I'm here. Nelly's with me virtually. We're gonna walk through and take a look at your house." And then we get to the kitchen table, and they open up a laptop, and you're talking to me like how we're talking now, and you take it the rest of the way.
Yes, that's exactly how it works. So we do
Wow.
a screen share on many times Lisa never pulls paper out of her folder. She does if they ask. We can do a screen share, we can do an in-depth neighborhood search, and they can see in real time how I'm comping their house, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And what it does is it gives me the opportunity to build relationship and to instill confidence in their home and my value. And if you can do that over Zoom, it's really, really powerful. How this started was how lots of change in our industry started for everybody. It was during COVID. There were probably a lot of agents that are listening to this that did a couple of Zoom listing appointments in 2020
Yeah.
and 2021. And the gift of COVID for me and my family was recognizing that this was going to be very doable. I always have what my family needs from me as my top priority in life. So when we decided to move to San Diego County, my oldest son, who I think just walked by the window, but he was starting his junior year of high school, and the local high school that he was a part of in Western Wisconsin was not coming back as fast as he would like for his, 17-year-old, the way he
Life.
saw
Yeah.
life. So he said, hey, there's a great private school, like 3 or 4 miles from our property out in San Diego County. I'd love to go there. They don't have anything like this in Western Wisconsin. Can we please just move to California? And at that time, unbeknownst to him and the rest of my family, I found out that I was expecting baby number 9. And I thought to myself, hey, my first winter owning this property out in San Diego, I don't want to stay in Wisconsin and have this baby. I'm going to be out there anyway because I wanted to take a maternity leave. So I said, sure, we can move. Within a month, we were all in California. I told my team what the plan was going to be. And I said, my top priority is keeping this business going. And I became the remote listing agent. I became the ISA and just focused on giving them as much opportunity as possible and streamlining the process for our clients. I didn't make a big announcement. There are still many people in our co-broke network that don't even know I'm gone.
Sure. They don't need
And
to. Yeah.
exactly. So there was no big announcement made. And we were also very transparent with our clients. And I also made the commitment to travel back to Wisconsin 4 to 5 days a month. So like a Thursday to a Tuesday or a Friday to a Wednesday, where I'm touching 2 parts or, one part of 2 weeks where I can be present at our client event. I can see my important SOI and keep in touch with the valuable relationships that I've built my whole life there. And, while we're doing something that's really, really great for our family. So
It's phenomenal. And the craziest thing is, like we said, is 9 years in the business, you already had 6 children, then 3 more during that 9-year period. Also being able to do it in a remote location and still doing 1.6 million in gross commission income last year is just phenomenal. So I think a lot of people are going to be listening to this and they're going to be going, okay, now I can see that I'm not limited by geographic location, number one. Number 2 is when that, obviously Lisa must be extremely talented, right? And because she's showing up as the mobile you at times in person. So to strip that back, so they answer the door, you walk through. She's not giving them staging advice or staging tips or anything like that. Talk me through. They go, you know what, Knelly, we really love this bright orange bathroom color that has little, unicorns on it in our guest, our entryway bathroom. Do you think we should do anything to change that? Does she give that advice? Do you talk to them about that? How do they know what they should do to get this house ready to go to market?
So I don't get in the weeds on the tour on the specifics, and I'm taking notes. And my answer to that is, yeah, I've got ideas around that. We're going to talk about it at the table. If I need more clarification on the direction they're going with it, I will ask them questions. But on that, we focus on making the house tour productive without losing control or having it be a runaway train where people get confused by too much information.
So you're more diagnosing the things that may need to be corrected
Correct.
first, instead of stopping at everything and going, you should do this, move that, do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, I give them the freedom to tell me what's in their head and what they're planning. So then I know what to diffuse.
Gotcha.
or consult on, but we don't get into the nitty gritty until we're at the kitchen table.
Okay. So now Lisa's still sitting in their kitchen and she puts down her laptop and says, Knelly's going to take you through the rest of the way. Is that what happens?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Lisa actually isn't saying anything unless
Right.
I ask her a question.
Okay.
And we have a really great understanding of how that authority and confirmation is transferred. So she's building the rapport at the door. Hey, I'm Lisa. She's a super happy, positive person. Knelly's right here on Zoom. Hey, Knelly. And and then I kind of take it away. um there when we sit down at the table, I even make that transition. Great, I've seen what I came here to see. This was a great house tour. Can we sit down and talk? I've got some comparables I'd like to share. We can do a screen share on Zoom. Awesome. So she's prepared with her laptop and a mobile hotspot if internet is bad at the property or whatever. So we take some technological precautions. Has it always gone perfect? No. So if we show up and there's a really bad connection or no internet, then I get on the phone and I say, okay, Lisa, I want you to take really quick walkthrough videos so I can review everything that I'm supposed to be seeing right now. So we have stop gaps in case there are problems, because it's life and there will be problems, right?
Completely.
Um, and then I also have her at the appointment if it's something that we know is going to be a one-step appointment or that we've had lead time on, and she's bringing all of the comps in paper form in case we have technological difficulties. So
Got-
we've never had a technological difficulty that has not, that's sunk us.
Yeah, that's been
Um,
worked out.
have we signed every listing remotely that we've gone on? No, our conversion rate is not at 100%. But it's a really good system. I've also used it if Lisa wasn't available with other agents on our team, and have used it to coach agents that are learning the listing side of the business to come alongside them on appointments. And we've done it where I have had them in a leadership role and I'm there as the consultant backing up their line of thinking and analysis. So it's worked well as we've grown agents on our team too.
That is amazing. So then at the end is Lisa bringing paperwork, and then Lisa goes, "All you need to do is sign here, and we're ready to rock."
So sometimes we have a full listing packet in paper on the property. I also have a document that we developed called the True Living Commitment to Sell.
Hmm.
And this is a one pager that simply explains I have agreed to allow True Living Real Estate to market my home starting on X date. This is our coming soon period. We're going to allow showings on X date. We have committed to filling out the condition report and receiving electronic correspondence from True Living Real Estate. So that way, and I know that we rainmakers and listing agents are perfect in our paperwork. We don't have to make any mistakes and have to go back for an addendum or a disclosure. And then our listing manager on our virtual assistant team can send them a full listing packet once we have the commitment. So it's a non-listing contract.
Knelly just dropping knowledge bombs here. And so, Knelly, what I love about that and what so many people get caught up with is when you get to the end there, you pull out 18, 24 pages of disclosures, agreements, and you just build all this great rapport. And then all of a sudden you're trying to explain Latin legal jargon to someone. And so kudos to you, because yeah, I think that's one of the most underrated techniques of a very powerful listing agent is going, you're there to get a handshake, right? That paper, will it stand up in court? Does it need to stand up in court? Not necessarily. You're going right. It's in the definition. It's a commitment that they're going to continue to move forward with you. And then all the paperwork is sent digitally after via DocuSign or eSign or some sort of format with an explanation that they can call you if you have questions. Is that the process?
Yep, that's the process. And all of our documents are explained in a preliminary email on the front end of DocuSign. We have the feeling that DocuSign is going to be extremely challenging,
Yeah.
if they are technologically challenged, we absolutely go through all of the documents in person. And it's just a judgment call at the kitchen table.
That's so smart. Yeah, and I think, as you know, it saves so much time, so much headache, and it sounds like too that a lot of this is because most of the clients that you're meeting with, you talked on it when you go back for these 5 day stints throughout the month or 4 or 5 day stints to really show up and be there. These are
Mhm.
people that, for the most part, trust you to a certain degree, right? They know who you are. Like Lisa's not showing up to an expired listing trying to pull this off, right? Like that just expired two
Oh,
days
we've done
ago.
that too.
Oh,
We've
okay.
done that
Oh, okay.
too.
Great. Tell me
And
about it. Yeah.
yeah, so I still make expired calls on a weekly basis, and my favorite thing is converting expireds over the phone. And then they become a warm listing appointment. We also do property previews. Okay, so they're not ready for a listing appointment yet, but we're going to come and preview the property and maybe take some video and expose it, preliminarily to our database to provide them some value to hopefully earn that listing appointment when they're ready to make a decision. Um, for sale by owners, the key to any lead source and the conversion of any lead source is how confidently can you explain your value and get them excited about the relationship and the future meeting on the phone.
Yes. Wow. 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 So, okay. Well, I'm glad I asked that because I was just like, wow, it must be because they just are so comfortable. But yeah, you're using this on straight up cold business and it works exactly the same way. That is
Exactly.
impressive. I think people are going to be listening to this and being like, "This is unbelievable." So then, to summarize this, so now Lisa, the laptop closes. Lisa says, "Great, paperwork will be coming digitally." Then she goes ahead and leaves. And now, when we talked earlier, there was some different things you do, and you said a seventh level open house. What's the special sauce on what you deliver to the seller to get their home sold for the highest price in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of headache? Can you kind of, I know those are three things that I always think about: most money for the seller, least amount of time, shortest amount of headache, or least amount of headache. What do you guys do that's your special barbecue sauce that makes that happen?
So total extra effort on the property prep side. So every single listing we take has at least a 7 day coming soon window, ideally 14 to 21 days. And that gives us time to network the open house, exposure on the internet. We go coming soon with exterior photos only and really focus on the teaser. And then during that period, we drop a soft sided dumpster and we give them, carte blanche resources to declutter, pre-pack until their heart's desire. We have a
So
cleaning lady
let's
that's,
slow down right there. So
yeah.
just so I understand, soft side dumpster and cart la what? So can you just, again, what? So you drop off and go declutter your house, but we're going to provide the dumpster for you to do it. Is that what that means?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a company in our market called Gorilla Bag. They might be national. I know for sure they're regional. And what it is, it's a blaze orange, soft-sided dumpster. An extra large is $250. It's not prohibitively expensive.
Yeah.
And they can throw furniture, paperwork, housewares, anything that they can't donate in that thing. And it's super, super welcomed. The first question that we get after that listing paperwork is signed is, when is my Gorilla Bag getting dropped off?
I
Like
love it.
people cannot wait for it. We also, if the client requires, offer help from our preferred cleaning service. She's very skilled on cleanouts. She can do a lot of damage in a 2 to 4 hour period. So just having someone that comes from our team to work alongside them. And then we also have an in-house stager that we pay to go in and properly utilize our staging inventory, their belongings, and make sure that those professional photos and video look as great as they can.
So
So
so that's a lot of value. I mean, that
as
in itself.
complimentary.
Yeah, you're going to have people listening to this Googling Gorilla Bags immediately. So hopefully you should get an affiliate code for them because they're going to be lighting that up. Because that's just brilliant. And because it's, again, you're solving the seller's problems, right? Every seller goes, I got to get this stuff out. It's annoying. I and and you're just simplifying that process. And I think when you do that, they're going, she cares about getting us the highest price possible. She's diagnosed what we need to do. So now she's not only diagnosing it, but she's also giving us the tools to make it less painful, because now there's someone that cleans. Now there's someone that come take the junk away, and it's just smart. I mean, it's just smart. So now, like you said, the home is, which obviously helps the house sell faster because it looks amazing because you've told them exactly what to do. So now I hit the market, and what happens next? And then it's open house that weekend. And you mentioned 7th level open house, which I don't think, I mean, I know what it is, but a lot of people don't really understand, and it means different things to different people. So what
Sure.
happens in that launch weekend that gets your properties under contract?
So with our team, we have the ability to do not just do one open house, but multiple open houses the first weekend. In most cases, it's a Saturday, Sunday. In a lot of cases, it's a Friday evening or a Thursday evening, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and really getting a lot of exposure through signage, circle prospecting. We definitely door knock and use like the old school techniques to just get the word out. Sometimes we'll have a neighbors only invite open house on a Thursday or a Friday afternoon to kind of give the nosy neighbors an opportunity to get in there, meet us, and just be curious, which is kind of fun.
That's awesome.
Sometimes we run up against the objection that, oh, my house is never going to sell at an open house, to which I say, the buyer of your house might not even know that they're in the market right now. And having that spontaneous opportunity to go see your home is one that you don't want to leave on the table. So, um, excellent signage and high visibility. We obviously advertise the open houses online. We have a very solid social media following on our personal and business pages. And then we also utilize video. So I do a lot of walkthroughs at our properties when I'm there once a month, and our agents do the same. We have a really great exposure, energy, and effort plan. And then we also talk from the very, very beginning on the best way to improve traffic at your first weekend open house is to have a well-priced listing. So using the list price as your top marketing tool is absolutely what we want to shoot for. And it works a very high percentage of the time. Does it absolutely always work? Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to find that right buyer,
Sure.
but we have a high percentage of our listings that end up in multiple offers, even in the strange market of 2025. Western Wisconsin and Eastern Minnesota is actually a very insulated market, nationally, because of the favorable price points and the affordability. So things are still moving very, very quickly.
That's fantastic. And so Nelly, I'm beyond impressed. There was so much in there, and not only did we talk about, I mean, just just the value, right? I think when we talk about how you're delivering this, and you can tell how passionate you are. I think the other thing that people don't realize too is, your model. You probably could I know you set listing appointments for your team, and they can go do this on their own, and they're learning how to train from you, and that's why your team is having so much success. But in addition, it's just looking at this and going, well, what if, because some people don't want to have a team, right? They just go, it's not my jam, it's not what I want to do, but they feel like they can't really get past this. And I've told the same people the same things. It's like, well, you can have, on the buy side, you can have showing assistants, or like, well, no one can show a house like I can show a house. It's like, you just prove them, over and over again to be that's a not true, right? That this is definitely possible to be done. And I think the really impressive thing is it's going so many excuses. Well, I hear people all the time, well, I can't lead gen because I've got little ones, I've got kids. And I'm not saying that having kids is not a lot, but you have 9 and you're still calling expireds, right? So, I mean, is it just that when you're just super laser focused and you've always been that way? Or what's the secret sauce of where you're finding this time? Because 9 people got to eat at some point, or however many are still in the house, right? Like, how do you structure that in the slightest way to make sure that there's still time to lead gen and talk to clients? What does that look like?
Well, what it looks like is being married to your best friend since, you were 14 years old. Like we didn't get married at 14, but Jake
I was like,
Jake
oh,
is
West
my,
Virginia.
yeah, right. No, Western Wisconsin. So, my husband, Jake, made the commitment with me when we decided to go all in on the real estate team. And those of you listening that maybe have met my husband or know my husband is a great, wonderful guy. He's not gregarious and he's not charismatic. And he takes a while to build rapport and get to know. And him in a supporting role, people need to understand that I don't grocery shop. I cook one meal a week and it's Sunday dinner at 3:00. I have a lot of support. Our oldest daughter is 22 and our top agent. So
Right.
like we have a family that supports the business and allows me a lot of freedom to do what I do. And the best advice when I got into the business 9 years ago is my mentor in real estate and who introduced me to our great company. She said to me, you might not have all of the hours in a day that you think you need to be effective. And if you just forget about that and never tell yourself that, and you focus on doing one or two things a day to move your business forward, your business will grow beyond what you would ever expect. So from the very first months that I got into this business, I never felt like I didn't have enough time. I knew that I had the right amount of time to do the right activities that were going to make us productive.
That's massive. Well, Knelly, we're going to have you back because we barely just scratched the surface, but I always want to be respectful of your time. So we're going to move into our beast mode round here, where I'm going to give you 4 questions,
Okay.
and it's based off of the MODE. So we'll start with the first one. What's your most memorable listing appointment? If you had to think of
Well,
that one, either good one or crazy one. I've heard both. I've heard crazy and I've heard good and I've heard strange. What was the most memorable that dings in your head?
based on what we talked about earlier, this comes into mind, and it's confidently knowing your value and communicating it well and surprising people outside of their expectations or preconceived notions that they might have about me or the appointment or the process in general, right? So we work very closely. We are the preferred listing team for a Homevestors franchise. If you're listening and you don't know anyone in Homevestors in your market, make an introduction or reach out to me and I'll make one for you, because they're amazing partners. And the We Buy Ugly Houses guys, are not a fit for everyone, just
Right.
like we're not a fit for everyone. And I had a great appointment that was referred to me by our Homevestors partner. And this house was cleaner than clean, military grade cleanliness levels. These people had pride of ownership in every corner. It was a beautiful acreage. It was a beautiful home. And I was not surprised that they did not want to sell under market for cash. So I go through the appointment, I go through the home tour, and before I could even open up my laptop or my folder to talk to them about the value, they looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "We know what our home is worth. We got an appraisal."
Mm,
Okay,
yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
said, "I'm really glad that you did your homework. Every home has 3 values. I'm going to give you my market value, and please keep that number to yourself, because I don't want to be influenced by what the appraiser told you when he was here last week." And they very smugly said, "Okay." And they knew in their minds when I got there and at this point of the conversation that they didn't need me and they weren't going to hire me. They
Mm,
were FISBO forevers, right?
right.
So I get through the comparables and I said, if you want to sell this house with great activity and potentially multiple offers, I would utilize the list price of 650,000, and we're going to have a great result, and we're going to end this, in 3 or 4 days, and you'll have the most amount of money with the least amount of stress. And their faces just went ash white, and they looked at each other like, well, what are we going to do? And I said, what was the appraisal? And they said the appraisal was for $539,000.
Wow.
And
Wow.
To which I said, do you trust me or do you
Mm,
trust
mm,
And they said, no, you came highly recommended. We are so excited about you helping us with our landscaping and coming alongside us with staging. And we know that you're going to do an amazing job and we'd love to hire you. So
I love it.
at yeah, the open house
I
was
thought
a
that was going the other way there for a second. I thought it was going to be
no,
a
it
number
was
much lower than the appraisal, and I was like, "Oh no, that's great." Yeah,
yeah, and I spent the next, week or so having a patio set delivered and putting it together that she ended up buying from me because she loved it so much. And, we planted the hydrangeas and did all the right things. And the open house on Friday night was an absolute riot. Like I literally needed a parking team.
wow,
And we had multiple offers and the home closed, at about $10,000 above list. So it was great. I gained a new friend and, we
a
still
very
talk.
skeptical friend to start with.
Right.
Yeah,
And those to me are the best relationships because you know that you've really proven your value and, it just is a really awesome opportunity to
yeah,
help somebody.
it's fulfilling. Well, then this next one's going to be easy. The O in beast mode is for the biggest obstacle, and this is going to sound funny with you, that you've overcome so far in your listing career. And I know,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, we've already talked about a lot that you've already overcome, which I
Yeah,
don't think most people would think they could
definitely
do.
running my listing business from 1,500 miles away.
Gotcha.
So the problem that allowed me to overcome the obstacle that allowed me to overcome is I am the problem solver. Like many of us, I get like a huge charge of helping people and solving everything and saving the day. And when I was forced to make my family the top priority and not be able to drop everything to go and do or show or help everybody or save the day, that changed my life.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I think everyone listening, they're just going to be blown away by that and inspired to do the same. And then this might be already the next simple D. So the D is for if you could deliver one piece of advice to the listing agents that are out there with everything you've learned over the course of your career, what would you tell them?
You can't you can't be too confident.
Mm,
Like confidence is the secret sauce in all of it. In building the relationship, know that they're going to love you. In providing and presenting the data, be so confident in it that you build their belief in the data and in you.
I love that.
Um, you have to focus on confidence as the biggest part of your personal development. And that's going to help you on the phone in an appointment as you're presenting offers and giving, insights in negotiation because people trust confident people and our clients are not confident in the outcomes and we are.
And has that always come natural to you, Nelly, or was that gained over time? Or I mean, you ooze confidence, but did you just think that was natural, or was there a part? Was there like a time when Nelly was kind of a little insecure and a little like I don't know, or has you've always just been like, let's rock and roll?
So I've always been a very confident person. I was a softball pitcher growing up,
Ooh, okay,
and you have to be confident, when you're touching the ball at every single time. So that was part of it. I was raised by a dairy farmer. I grew up on a dairy farm, and I know that's surprising. Wisconsin,
so it is
California.
true. That's what they do there.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, my dad, from the time I was 7 or 8 years old, always had me taking care of his business. Hey, I'm in the field. Call the vet and place this order. I need you to order this for me. I need you to call so and so. Hey, make sure this person shows up. So, like as a firstborn daughter, being raised by parents that wanted to raise confident kids, we were always made to order our own food at restaurants. They always made us put ourselves out there. So I didn't understand what it was like to not be confident.
Right.
Like that was just how I was raised.
It's awesome. It's awesome. All right. And the last one. So the E is for, what are you excited about for the future? What does the next few years look like? What are you hoping to accomplish? What are you excited about for the future?
I'm super excited about growing my business in San Diego and the opportunities that that is going to provide and the opportunities to help people in a new market. That's very, very exciting. I'm also excited to instill leaders in our business and install leaders in massive growth opportunities in our Midwest market that we serve. So really focusing on the growth of our leadership team so that we have in-person leaders that we can attract and help retain agents and give them the opportunity to have very impactful careers on their families and their lives. I also opened a out-of-hospital birth center in my community, and I own a business in healthcare, which is really, really fulfilling and kind of a bucket list item to bring back to life an out-of-hospital birth center that served our community for a really long time and then closed. And I bought the building and have reopened it. Those are all really exciting things.
Which is huge, and because it's an underserved community there, correct, as well? So there was not a lot of services necessarily available for
From a maternity care and healthcare standpoint, it would be
Yeah.
considered an underserved community.
Yeah, well, that's amazing, and we'll put information about that for people that may want to connect with you, because I mean, a lot of people love supporting great causes like that. And then, so to summarize all this, so Knelly, and then looking at this right now, you are. If I wanted to join your organization, what's the first step? What should I do?
Oh gosh, let's have a conversation. So I'm easy to find, True Living Team Realtor on
Yeah,
Instagram.
we're going to put all of your fun stuff
Knelly
here.
Dettinger,
Yeah, so everyone
Knelly
will have
Dettinger.
every way to connect with you on earth. But
So,
that's the next step, right? Is just to reach out and say, hey, I loved what I heard and I feel like I vibe with you.
exactly,
I love it.
exactly.
I love it.
You know, the best way to grow our businesses and our impact is to focus on connecting with people and deciding who to get into business with versus where.
I love it. Well, I know if I have anyone that's even thinking about being in real estate in those locations, I'm telling them to call you. So first of all, Knelly, thank you so much for absolutely your time, your insight. We're going to have you back again if you'll have us, because there's so much more that we barely scratched the surface on. But the big key takeaways are, obviously you can do anything in this business, and putting family first is obviously the number one priority. You never have to give up quality of life for your business. You just got to think outside the box, and you got to have talented people that are there to support. And we all need a jack, right? If we don't have a jack, we need to go get a jack, right? Like it's
Jake.
a Jake. I'm sorry, a Jake.
Yeah,
We all
okay.
need a
That's
Jake.
okay.
We need a Jake. So Saint Jake, good shop there. So, but thank you for being a listing beast, and thank you for inspiring so many of the other agents out there to become a listing beast just like you. It means the world to them that you shared this time with us. So we truly appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Listing Beast podcast. If you got value from today's guest, take 30 seconds and share this with another agent who's serious about being a top listing agent. And if you're ready to take what you've heard today and actually have your own high converting, scalable listing system, book a free strategy session with my team at listingbeast.com. We'll show you how to go from good to unstoppable. I'm Brendan Bartic, and I'll see you next week right here on the Listing Beast podcast, where top agents come to earn bigger checks, generate more repeat and referral business from their database, and 10x their listing leads.